Last week, we have started discussing documentary collection, and today I want to continue it, the second part, because uh, some of the things what we are going to discuss in these classes are very much relevant, to uh, what do you call this, uh, your day-to-day operations, especially for trade finance people. So because of that, uh, whatever the things I'm going to discuss with you, especially today, very much relevant to your operational issues, please give your feedback and ask me the questions. Please ask me the questions. Yeah, for example, if you can tell me, so this is not the way we are doing. So what is the best way? Because this is a forum for exchanging best practices in international trade. Without exchanging the best practices, it's very difficult to develop the international trade operations in our banks. Some banks are doing good things, some banks are doing wrong things, bad things. So we'll have to discuss it, and then we'll have to select what is the best practice. Then in time to come, everybody will do the correct thing. So gradually you have to implement those things. So because of that, I need every one of you. I know majority are trade finance guys. Some are not trade finance. Some are not working in banks. Doesn't matter. But nevertheless, if you come across any gray areas, please stop me and discuss. Because unlike the other classes, I know when we are having the physical classes, after the class or during the tea break, I'm getting a lot of questions. But here, we'll finish, we'll go. You will also get up and close your instrument. So because of that, we have to, please stop me, and we have to clarify whatever the gray areas you are having. Right. Having said that, last week we discussed about what is documentary collection and who are the parties to a documentary collection, and then the cycle and all those things. Now we are moving from where we have stopped, right? The role of the remitting bank in monitoring and control of the collection process. Now, before that, can you people please speak up? Can you people tell me who are the parties to a documentary collection? Start. One person can start. I'm not seeing you. That's why I'm asking you. Please.
The principal.
The principal. Very good. Can somebody else support that statement? Principal is correct. Can you give me some other names?
Drawer.
Not drawer.
Drawing.
I'm talking about the principal.
Export.
Principal
Export.
Exporter. Very good.
Remitting bank.
Yeah, exporter කියන තව නමක් අපිට ගන්න පුළුවන්. Drawer. Right? Okay. Then exporters bank is remitting bank. Then what else? Then what else? Please speak up, because I can't see you. Nobody can see you. Nobody can laugh.
Collecting bank.
Collecting bank. Collecting bank is in which country?
The
importers country or exporters country? Huh?
Importers only.
Importers country. Then another bank,
Presenting bank.
presenting bank, right? And then the importer drawee. Okay. Right. Then now we are going to discuss the role of the different parties in a collection process. First, we'll start with the role of the remitting bank in monitoring and control of the collection process. The remitting bank is in the exporter's country, so the remitting bank means we are going to discuss the exporters bank's role. Remitting bank role is exporters bank role, right? The role of the exporters bank is to follow the exporter's instructions on the method of collecting payment from the importer. For that, I think I have uploaded you a specimen export trade collection form. I think it is there in your system. Export trade collection form, which the customers have to fill and submit along with the export documentation, right? And another thing is there is no legal obligation for the banks to check documents, but it should warn its customers of defects that may cause delays. This is, after all, part of good customer service. We started the session last week saying that in this particular payment method, the banks are not responsible and they don't have any legal obligations for the payment. They are only acting as agents. So that is that. But as banks, as prudent banks, we have a responsibility and we have an obligation to serve our customers. What customers are looking forward is to, they want their bank to advise them, to tell them the correct thing and tell them not to do the wrong things. So it is something like that which the remitting bank has to do, right? Then we talk about the collection order. I think when you are having the URC 522, please go through this article number 4. Article number 4 of URC 522, they are talking about the collection instructions and the collection order. Now, collection order forms, one of the samples which I have sent. Why we are using a collection order form? Why can't we use a covering letter from the customer? Why can't we use a covering letter from the customer? Why we are insisting them to use the bank's collection order form? Why?
To have uniformity.
Yeah, most of the collection order forms in most of the banks, even it's Sampath or HSBC or Standard Chartered or Cargill's or Commercial Bank, whatever the bank, most of the collection order forms are about 95% similar. So, okay. But more than the uniformity?
To obtain all the required details without missing out.
Yes, yes, it's very true. If you ask the customer to give you, to send the documents along with a covering letter, right? That covering letter will be just like a love letter, right? They might say, okay, the documents are attached here with blah, 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 finish. And they will not give the clear and complete instructions. It's very important when the remitting bank is sending the collections to collecting bank, we have to give them the exact instructions for them to process. Because down the line, all the banks and the parties are acting as agents of the principal. So that's why we are asking the principal to give the instructions properly. And when you note, you may notice in this collection order form which I have uploaded, the customer has to sign on their rubber stamp or whatever, the normal way. When they are signing a check, here also they have to sign this form with the proper authenticated signatures. Why? Why? Why is that? In
To add
most of the,
validity, to add validity
huh?
to the document. To add validity to the document.
Yes, we want to have a validity. We have to validate the instructions given by the customer, because we are going to act on that. So we should know whether those instructions have come to us from the correct party. Otherwise, sometimes uh, unauthorized parties in a company, they can give the wrong instructions, right? They can change the exporter, or they can uh, change the amount and all those things, right? So that is why we need authenticated signatures, and always make it make sure when you receive the documentation with the covering export collection order form, please ensure to verify the signature. That's very important. If you don't verify the signature, you are going to have it when you are going to have a department internal audit in one day, right? Internal audit කට්ටිය ආපු ගමන් ඉස්ලාම බලන්නේ පරණ ෆයිල් වල සිග්නේචර්ස් වෙරිෆයි කරලාද කියලා නේ. ඕකනේ බලන්නේ. පොලිසියෙන් පැන්නා වගේනේ. ඉතින් ඒකින්ද මේක හරි important, right? And that is why we are encouraging the customers to use the collection order form when submitting collections, right? To make it simple for the exporter to give us his instructions clearly and completely. Then a lot of people, exporters, they are not knowledgeable enough about these terms and the conditions. That is why we have put all those things, and we are asking the customer to tick on it, right? For banks to transfer the instructions to their covering schedule, which they send to the collective bank. When we have the forms properly filled, then it's easy for us to transfer the instructions to the collecting bank. I'll give you one, for trade guys, I'll give you one exercise. When you go to office on Monday, right? Get a collection order form. You can do this collection order form, and especially it's easy for the guys who are doing the handling the collections in the department, right? Go through the collection order form and your uploading pages. I think normally you have to load about 6-7 pages, huh? One by one. Api customer ke nama dano, addresses dano, contact numbers, and the second page then we'll give some other instructions, goods descriptions, and all those things. Am I correct? Come on, Udayapanti Marune. I had 45 people and all were talking.
Yes, correct.
All were talking. Me lamai kala budid danne. Right? It's correct. Now what you have to do, just go through it and see whether all those pages, because time to time your what do you call this? Okay, අමාරුව තියෙන්නේ managers ලටවත් head of trade වලටවත් කාටවත් නෙමෙයි. ඔගේ අමාරුව තියෙන්නේ මේක load කරන අයින්ස් එක දුවට හරි පුතාට හරි. They have to go through the entire form up and down 10 times to find the exact answers, right? Just do an exercise and see whether it is compatible with your form and the form එකේ order එකයි අර pages වල order එකයි එක වගේ දෙන කියලා. ඒක දිගට දාගෙන යන්න පුළුවන් ද form එකේ උඩින් පල්ලෙහාට යනකොට. එහෙම වුණොත් just imagine how much of time you can save, how much of time you can avoid the errors, right? Otherwise, what you can do as a proactive suggestion, suggest your management to make some changes to your export collection order form which you are giving to the customers. Make instructions ටික. උඩයට පොඩ්ඩක් මෙහාට මෙහාට මාරු වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Right? That is going to be a very good best practice if you can do it. Right? Easy for customers, easy for us. Then terms and conditions are printed on the back of the collection order. By signing the form, the export agrees to be bound by the provisions of URC 522. This behind this thing, you get the terms and conditions. So once you sign, they agree that you are subject to or you are bound by the provisions of URC 522, right? That the bank is not liable for errors made by the collecting bank. All those things are there in the collection order form on the reverse side of it. I don't know how many people have gone through those things. Please go through it and see. Take one of your collection order forms in your own banks. Then, regarding the checking of documents, there's no legal obligations for banks to check documents, right? But we should warn our exporting customers of delays that might be caused by incomplete documentation, etc. It's true that we don't want to check the documents. There's no obligation, unlike documented credit, right? But we have to tell our customers, okay, please use this, please use it properly to avoid errors. I always do this, right? Are there any export guys who are in the class today or in other exports department? At least one or two?
Yes.
Now, always this is my best practices. You can do it. You can implement these things, right? I don't want to keep those things with me. Otherwise, I will go to grave with keeping all those things, the best practices. It is always good and advisable to educate your customer. My advice to you is speak to your managers, right? If one of your customers are making constant errors and it's a cumbersome thing for you to go through it and correct them and call them, and it's a never-ending thing. So the best thing what you can do is visit the customer. Don't ask them to come to the bank. You visit them. And not the main guy is doing the errors. Main guy is only putting his signature. Errors are done by the staff. So you ask them to arrange a training session, go to them with the export order forms and one of their uh, recent documentation photocopies with certain errors, and tell them, don't do this, do it like this, right? And why we have to do it is to avoid these errors. All those things you have to explain to them, right? And then there are two things. One good thing is you are trying to avoid or to avoid most of the uh, errors of that particular customer. And another one is you are teaching them the correct procedures, and you have to tell them always why you have to do it. Don't dictate terms. You have to tell them why you have to do it. Otherwise, what is the damage that's going to happen to them? Then, one good thing is, especially I have seen this in these countries like Sri Lanka and India, uh, Western countries I have worked, and they are not much there. But especially our countries, according to our culture, we are always respecting our teachers. Even I am respecting my teachers who taught me in grade 6, grade 5, Tama, my grade 12, grade 11, grade 12 and 13, my botany teacher, still she is in UK. Every 2 weeks, 3 weeks time, either I call her or she used to call me. And whenever she comes to Colombo, we all go and meet her, throw a party to the teacher. So that's how we always respect. And some of her students today, some are top bankers, some are top uh, politicians, top politicians, right, who are leading the country. But for everybody, teacher is teacher. We respect, immaterial of your present position. So because of that, when you become cultivate that loyalty, they will never go to any other bank. They are going to stick to you. So try to do those things, right? Then I'm coming back to the screen. Make sure the bill of exchange is correctly drawn, signed, and endorsed. Very important. Then documents should be consistent with each other. We are not checking the documents. Mind you, we started saying that there's no obligation for banks to check the documents, but as a prudent bank, we have to check these type of things. Documents should be consistent with each other. For example, the invoice amount and the draft amount. Invoice amount, if you say, I don't know whether you can see this, US dollars 10,000.
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes, sir.
US dollars 10,000 is invoice. Bill of exchange is US dollars 10,050. Invoice is US dollars 10,000. Bill of exchange is US dollars 10,050. Something wrong somewhere. Immediately you have to call the customer and ask them, why is this? Otherwise, if you have not noticed this, then if you are sending the documents to the remitting collective bank, they are going to have a issue, right? They are not. It's ambiguous. So all documents mention the same goods. There's another one. One is in the Commercial invoice, it says shorts. Commercial invoice, it says 1,000 packs of shorts. Right? In the BL, it says 1,000 this invoice. BL, it says 1,000 packs of shirts. Shorts and shirts. Two different things. Right? Ultimately, අපිට කියන්න පුළුවන් no legal obligation for banks to check the document. We can wash our hands. No. That is not the way. Right? Even though there's no legal obligation, we have a moral obligation to check. Then the documents requiring the export customer signature, such as bill of exchange, must be signed. Right? Bill of exchange without the customer signature, there's no point. There's no validity. Then that vital documents are not missing. If it says bill of lading, all 3 copies are to be submitted. Right? Then check invoices against which Incoterm applies. Check invoices against which Incoterm applies. That gives me, I need, how many people are connected today? Can somebody check and see how many participants?
About 20 participants, sir.
About 20 participants.
Yes.
Day by day, we are improving. Yes, last week it was
18,
of,
I think.
huh?
18. 15 wage.
15. Last time, last week it was 15. 20 odd. We are improving. Now tell me, all these 15 people, you must be in different banks. Please mention your bank and give me the feedback, because it's very important, very important what I'm going to ask you. Still, I have not prepared my presentation on Incoterms because of a particular reason. Incoterms have been changed in 2020. Now it's Incoterm 2020. Earlier we used Incoterms 2010. Okay. Are you using 2010 or 2020 now? මට මේකුඩ තමයි මගේ presentation එක හදන්න වෙන්නේ. NTB, can I ask? Nobody from NTB? NDB? Ceylon? මේ ළමයි 20 ගාන ඉන්නේ මොන බැංකුවලද කියන බං ඔක්කොටද? ඔතනේම නැහැ කියන්නේ දැන් මොන බැංකුවලද ඉන්නේ? Can you hear me? Huh?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You are from which bank? Tell me. දැන් කතා කරලා දුව කියන්න බං.
I am not a bank person, sir. I am from export company.
Your company, which Incoterm you are using?
Still, we are using 2010.
You are using 2010.
Yes.
කලින් කතා කරලා පුතා?
Sir, I'm from Standard Chartered,
Ah.
but I'm not from the trade side. I'm from credit side.
Yeah, Felix?
Yes, sir.
Right. Felix, can you check with them and can you give me a
Yes,
call?
I check and let you know, sir.
Right?
Okay.
If you don't have my number, you know how to contact me, no?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Right. Even you ask Lasanta, right?
Yeah.
So, or you can call my daughter and tell her, I want to have this feedback. This is very, very important, but I'll have to teach you. I'm not sure whether if you are not using, then I can discuss the Incoterms 2010. But if you are going to, if you are already start using 2020, I think it is better we'll go for 2020 so that at least we will be discussing the new things. අනිත් ළමයි මොනවද ඉන්නේ? කොමර්ෂල් බැංක් කවුද ඉන්නේ? ස්ටෑන්ඩඩ් චාර්ටර්ඩ් විතරනේ ඉන්නේ. අනිත් 20ම non bankers-ලාද? අයියෝ. දැන් මම මොකද්ද කරන්නේ ඔයගොල්ලොත් එක්ක? I can easily teach you 2010 and then ඒක අටපාඩම්. Alright. කවුරුකද නැද්ද කතා කරන්න?
Sir, if possible, 2020 is more good.
2020 is more good. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, because I can't teach two things. In that case, I want you people to go through the Incoterms 2010, and then what I will do is I will prepare the presentations on 2020 so that you will be learning the new one. I think from January 1st of 2020, that was the implementation date. So I know some banks have started, some banks have not started. Right. Then ensure instructions on collection order are logical. For example, DP, then if it is DP, you have to have a side draft. If the collection order forms, they have ticked DP and they have submitted a user's draft to be paid after 90 days. It's contradicting, right? Collection order form says DP and the draft is 90 days DA, right? So in a scenario like that, if you, okay, as a collecting bank, if you happen to receive instruction like that, instruction says DP, documents against payment, and the draft attached is a 90 days usance. What are you going to do? Please open up your mouth. නැත්තම් හරියන්නේ නැහැ මේ. තව පොඩ්ඩකින් මම බුදිය ගන්නවා. ඒකත් බෑ දැන් මාව පේන ඔයගලන්ට. ඔයගලන්ට මට පේන්නේ නැහැ. right? කියන්න මම මොකද කරන්නේ? ඒ වගේ එකක් ආවොත් මොකද කරන්නේ? Right guys, I need your feedback. Hello.
We have to check with remittance bank and confirm, get a confirmation.
You have to check with the remitting bank and ask for a confirmation. Right? What's your name, Puti?
Lasanti.
Lasanti. Which bank?
NTB.
NTB. Then NTB, then කතා කළේ නැත්නම් Incoterm එකට.
I'm a counter, sir, so I can't confirm exact.
Right. So what you can do, Lasanti, you go to.
I can check and confirm.
Please. Right? We need, right? Right.
Okay, sir.
Wow, because you are not going to be at the counter forever, ne? One day you have to sit at the manager's desk, definitely. එතනට තමයි අපි යන්න ඕනේ. Right. දැන් මේක වුණොත් මොකද කරන්නේ? Lasanthi said something. යාගේ එකට මම agree වෙනවා. You have to go back to the remitting bank and ask for the correct instructions. You have to tell them it's ambiguity. But the consignment lying at the port is bee onions. It's a perishable. The maker mama remitting bank remitting bank has to contact the principal. The principal has to give the instructions in writing. ඔය අතර වෙනකොට COVID-19 ආවා අතන පොඩ්ඩක් වැහුවා බැංකුව වැහුවා අපිත් උනානේ පහුගිය දවස්වල බැංකුව වැහලා තිබ්බනේ දවස් දෙක තුන කර්ෆියු දැම්මා එතකොට BNN consignment එකට මොකද වෙන්නේ perishable it will get perish නේ එහෙම වුණා නම් ස්ටෑන්ඩඩ් චාර්ටර්ඩ් එකට එම වැඩ කරන්න හම්බෙන්නේ නැහැ කොටුවේ ඔය තියෙන බිල්ඩිම හරිය අර කුණු වුණාම තොට ළඟ තොරනවා වගේ තොට ළඟ තොරන බලන්න යනකොට අපිට ගඳ එන්නේ අන්න ඒ වගේ right container පිටින් කුණු වුණා නරක වෙනවා මොකද කරන්නේ එතකොට this is a practical class right we are discussing practical things what Lasanthi mentioned was perfect that's correct but now my question is if it is steel or something yeah we can wait for another 1 week or 8 days until it gets sorted out මෙතන මේව ගන්න perishable item ගන්න can we release the documents because without the documents you can't the draft is for 90 days so the customer is coming and is regarding you and he is challenging you and he is telling no this is 90 days can't you see are you blind it's a 90-day draft I will accept give me the documents whereas the collection order form says DP මොකද කරන්නේ and items are perishable you have to do it you have to take immediate action right we are wasting time but this is not the way I want this class to continue right you have to speak දැන් අපි කතා කළාම නම දන්නෙත් නැහැ දැන් ෆීලික්ස් කිඹුණ මම දන්නෙත් නැහැ ලසන්ත කිඹුණ දන්නෙත් නැහැ කවුරුද කියලාවත් දන්නේ නැහැ දෙක අපි කතා කරනවා අර ගානේ උගලට you have that chance right මේ ඒකෙන් පොඩ්ඩක් කතා කරන්න දැන් මොකද්ද කරන්න අපි in a situation like that you can always release the documents you are the agent of whom you are the agent of whom aneke මතක තියාගන්න that's a important point you have to keep it in our mind you are an agent of කාගේ agent අපි
Remitting.
tell me your answer is correct උන්ට හරියටම ඇහුන්නේ නැහැ agent of
Remitting bank.
and remitting bank එකටත් වැඩිය supplier exporter principal he is the principal I am the agent right so what is my main objective I have to send the money to the as a collecting bank I have to send the money to the agent principal because he is expecting me to now he has given me instructions 2 instructions one is DP one is 90 days which one I have to go we have to select
DP.
the best thing where the justice is done to the exporter then we have to think about What's the best thing? DP or DA?
DP.
DP. DP. Then තේරෙනවද? එයාට ඕන නම් බඩු ගන්න අපිට යාට කියන්න තියෙන්නේ well we are not responsible for the goods. Whatever things happens to the goods, I don't care. They can't file a case against the bank. No way. Right? But we have to be human beings. We have to be human beings. Right? අපේ අට කතා කරලා කියන්න එනවා. මොකද කරන්න කියන එක. එතින්ද අපි කියන්නේ okay, I'll give you the documents immediately if you pay the money. You can sort it out with your other party, the exporter. Right? Right. Ensure customer sign the collection order form because we need them to sign because I told them that they have to take the responsibility of what they are asking us to do. And the covering schedule, and if the documents are in order and the instructions complete, the remitting bank has to choose the collective bank if not specified by the exporter. Right? It is the prerogative of the collecting bank. Otherwise, the exporter has to specify who is the collecting bank. In most cases, they specify. They wanted us to send the documents to that particular bank. But in if they are not mentioned, then the remitting bank can decide who should be the collecting bank. Normally, we select a corresponding bank with where we are having agency agreement relationship. A branch of correspondent bank in the importer's country in the same city town if possible. Attention is drawn to sub-articles 5D and 11A of URC 522. Can you please go through it and 2 minutes, 3 minutes, can you go through those sub-articles because we have to cover all the articles. Please go through the sub-articles and then we can avoid them when we are discussing the whole thing. What is 5D says? For the purpose of giving effect to the instructions of the principal, the remitting bank will utilize the bank nominated by the principal as the collecting bank. In the absence of such nomination, the remitting bank will utilize any bank of its own or another bank's choice in the country of payment or acceptance or in the country where other terms and conditions have to be complied with. It is their prerogative to choose the correct bank. And the 11A. Banks utilizing the services of another bank or other banks for the purpose of giving effect to the instructions of the principal do so for the account and at the risk of such principal. Do so for the account and at the risk of such principal. In the disclaimer, that's the disclaimer clause, right? In the 5D, it says collecting. Just we make critically, analytically, you have to learn these articles, right? Now, unlike DABF or anything, I'm not discussing all these things with DABF guys. You guys, I have to discuss these things in detail, right? 5D, it says, okay, you can choose the most appropriate bank. The 11A is a disclaimer clause. It says, even if you choose something and if something goes wrong, you don't have to worry as the remitting bank. You do it if the customer, the principal has not given us the exact instructions. We have done in good faith, right? Without any negligence, in good faith we have acted. If something goes wrong, the bank is not responsible. We are doing it at the risk of the principal. අතන කිව්වා level A එකෙන් අත හොදගත්තා. shape වුණා. බලන්න කොහොමද හදලා තියෙන්නේ කියලා. Right. Prepares the covering schedule on the basis of the collection order together with instructions on how to send payment to the remitting bank. Usually by telex unless amount is small. The collection instructions should clearly indicate that the collection has been undertaken subject to ICC rules URC 522. Very clearly, all these collection order forms, we have to mention, it's a mandatory that it is subject to URC 522. Now I am asking a question. Please answer it, right? Please answer it. You have got a collection order form, collection instructions from the remitting bank. You are in the importer's bank here, right? It never says subject to ICC rules URC 522. What can you do? It's a must that you have to say subject to ICC rules URC 522. Whatever the collection instructions you got from the remitting bank is absent. You're absent. What is the course of action you are going to take?
We will inform the bank,
You will inform the
that we are handling according to the URC
you are from which bank?
from commercial bank.
Commercial bank.
Yeah.
You are not 100% correct. Bagat hari.
Okay.
We are informing the remitting bank
That we are going to handle the collection according to that.
අන්න ඒ කෑල්ල තමයි within bracket මට දාගන්න ඕනේ. That you are going to handle. Don't do that. Right? Don't do that. You just ask them, this is missing. Please give us instructions whether it is subject to ICC rules URC 522. Please give us instructions. Don't tell them that you are going to handle. Right, okay. ඊට පස්සේ අරයගෙන් ගන්න ඕන. උත්තරේ එකම question එක, but the way you are putting the question to them in a different angle. Right? Don't tell them that you are going to do that.
Right.
Right? අරගහන් ගන්න එයාගෙන් ගන්න. බෝලේ පාස් කරන්න බෝල පාස් කරන ගේම් එක බැංකර්ස්ලා හොඳට පුරුදු වෙන්න ඕන. නැත්තම් ලෙඩේ ටක් ගාලා බෝල පාස් කරන්න එහාට ගන්න එහෙන් උත්තරේ. Right? එකම ප්‍රශ්නේ දෙපැත්තට අර ගන්න. Okay. If again if those banks are silent, what are we going to do with the collection order? දැන් මේකත් අර මේ බීලුනේ එල්ල තියෙන්නේ. බියානියන් ලෝඩ් එකක් තියෙනවා. මේ කුඩ වෙනවා. දැන් මේව අරගන්න ඕන. දැන් මොකද කරන්නේ? Can we release the documents to the customer? Can we release the documents to the customer?
Yes, under DB terms.
Very good. Yes. Under DB, because we are, whether which is subject to URC 522 or not, we have a responsibility towards the principal. Principal's only ambition is to get the money. So we have to make sure that we get in the money. So if the instructions are not there, ICC 522 and all, you can use the common law of the country. According to the common law of the country, when you receive a set of goods, you have to pay that. So you pay. ඕක මේ principal කිසිම ගානක් නැහැ. They subject to ICC rules 522 නැද්ද කියන එක ප්‍රශ්න නැහැ. සල්ලි හම්බ වෙනවා නම්. Right? දෙපැත්තම බලන්න ඕන. If you get a question like this, then you have to analyze and give the both answers. Give the both answers. අර ඉස්සලා පුතා කමර්ෂල් බැංකුවේ පුතා කිව්ව එකත් හරි. ඒක අපි මේ විදිහට අහනවා. Otherwise, you can treat it as a DP and collect the money and remit the money to the principal and give the documents to them. Right? Mail the schedule and bill by registered mail courier to the collecting bank. Once you prepare the thing, you have to send the documents along with the bill schedule by registered mail or courier to the collecting bank. ඒක ඕගන්ට එනවනේ. ඒවා තමයි imports department එකට හම්බ වෙන්නේ. There is a date for chasing the bill if payment or advice of acceptance has not been received. Very important, the last one. There is a date for chasing the bill. Now, if you have today's 6th of June, normally what we have to do is we have to diarize it for 10 days or 14 days for the diarize can. Diarize කරලා bills ටික තියාගන්න. දැන් නම් diarize කරන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. What we can do is in most banks, I think you can get a computer printout of the bill sent 2 weeks back or whatever the outstanding bills printout tag gattama you can check bills outstanding for more than 10 days. There you are. You have to go through it, right? ඉස්සර අපි කරනකොට තමයි ඔය diarize කරලා ඔක්කොම කරලා තියාගත්තේ. Now you people are lucky. Then the collecting and presenting bank. What's the obligations and responsibilities of the collection and presenting bank? The decision to handle the collection is made subject to the following concerns. Right? Collection එක ආවයි කියලා collection එක ආවයි කියලා මේ අපි හැංගිල් කරන්න ඕනේ නෑ. මම කිසිමානෙත් ඔක් කිව්වා. right? ආපු ගමන් පණ දාගෙන දුව මේක කරන්න ඕනේ නෑ. ඉස්සලා බලන්න ඕන. Is the imported drawee a customer of the collecting bank? If they are not a customer, it's a problem. Because why we are insisting on a customer relationship? Can somebody give me a reason why we are insisting? මේකට නම් උත්තර දෙන්න නම් බැංක කෙනෙක්ම වෙන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. even non bank.
know the customer.
Yeah. අපි මොකද්ද අපි කියන දැන් යන කටේම තියෙන එක KYC. Know your customer. Right? KYC. When we open the account, you go through the customer's pedigree, everything. Right? Then we are sure. Right? Then does the transaction fall within the ordinary course of business for such customer? That you have to check. Right? Okay, for example, we say the famous අපි චූටි කාලේ අපිට කලින් අපේ even during our parents' time, the furniture people, Don Carollis, අහලා තියෙනව නේද? Don Carollis and Company, famous furniture guys, right? Now you are getting a collection order form here, documents, you know, they are importing potatoes. So you have to see what is this guy is doing. They are into furniture business. What the heck, they are importing potatoes, right? So like that you have to see. Then any restrictions on the merchandise covered. Any restrictions on the merchandise covered? These days, a lot. Last 4-5 weeks, we got one after the other circulars from the Treasury and import control regarding restrictions on the merchandise, right? So those things you have to check. Arms and ammunition. You are getting a set of documents, collection documents to your importation of 0.9mm pistol and T56, 10 dozen T56. Clear. Those are banned items, right? Can we get through collection drugs? You can't, right? If an import license is required, do the documents have one? If an import license is required, do the documents have one? Does a transaction a potential risk for the collecting bank? Very important, right? But unknown transaction again potential risk. Will there be any difficulty in collecting bank charges, and will the transaction be profitable? Right? Some customers in the trip අපිට දැන් බැංක් එක පැත්ත බලා දෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඒක අපිට අඩු ගන්න collecting bank එකේ charges වත් ගන්න පුළුවන් දෙයක් දන්නේ නැහැ. ඒවා බලන්න ඕන අපි before we handle the thing. Otherwise you have to go back to the remitting bank and tell them, sorry, we are not prepared to handle this transaction. Then according to ICC 522 Article 12A, the banks must verify the documents received appear to be as listed in the collection instructions and have no further obligation in this respect. Very important. The banks must verify that the documents received appear to be as listed in the collection instruction. The collection instruction form, in the collection instruction form, here you can see the number of documents. Drafts 2, then commercial invoices 3, likewise, and they will put, and the same thing they will type in the bill schedule. So when you receive the documents, only thing you have to see is whether those numbers are there. If they say commercial invoice 4 and only 2 commercial invoices have been attached, immediately go back to the remitting bank. Right? Bill of exchange, they have mentioned bill of exchange, but when you, with the documents what you got from the remitting bank, no bill of exchange. Right? You have to go back to the remitting bank. Banks must also exercise reasonable care. ICC 522 Article 9. Right? Banks are regarded as experts in handling trade documents, and if the importer loses money because of some fault in the documents, he may be able to sue the bank for negligence, not taking reasonable care to protect his interest. Right? If I have time later, I'll try to discuss certain cases, legal cases with you. Let's see, right? Not immediately, after 2-3 months ගියාට පස්සේ අපි පොඩි legal cases ටිකක් check කරමු. පුළුවන් නම් හොයාගන්න මේවා තියෙනවා ඉන්ටර්නෙට් එකේ. එකක් තමයි famous case එකක් ඔක තියෙනවා Article 9 එකේ exercise reasonable care එකේ Wanathivilluwa farm versus commercial bank. Wanathivilluwa farm තමයි මට මතක විදිහට හරියටම company එක නම් මතක නැහැ. But the bank was commercial bank. Commercial bank එකට against අරගල නඩුවක් දාලා තියෙනවා. ඒ නඩුව වගේ cases. ඉතින් reasonable क्या කියන එක හරි important. අපි ආපු බැලුවොත් this particular one, we'll have to think about when we talk about this particular article 9 එකේදී, we'll have to elaborate on one thing. Not only ICC regulations, 522. 522 පොත විතරක් නෙමෙයි. Not only 522. ඉතින් බලන්න ඕන against the local law and the rules. Right? ඒවට හරි යනවාද කියන එක. ඔය හැම එකෙම තමයි excise reasonable කියන එක එන්නේ. Then collecting bank's role and obligations. It does not guarantee payments of the bills except in evaluation. Have you done the evaluation? Yes or no? Yeah. Have you done the evaluation?
No, sir.
I think no one කරන්න. මටත් මතක නැහැ. අපි වයසක මිනිස්සුනේ ඒකම අහන්නේ. කරාද නැද්ද කියලා. Right, except in evaluation, I'll cover the evaluation later. The collecting bank presents a bill to the importer for payment and or acceptance. That's nothing to explain. Then the collecting bank advises fate of the bill to the remitting bank. Make a very important. The collecting bank advises fate of the bill to the remitting bank. Now, remitting bank, when they send the bills to the collecting bank, I told you that we have to diarize and follow it up. Right? Likewise, the collecting bank also has to advise the fate of the bill to the remitting bank on a periodical basis. Right? URC 522 Article 26 for rules on advice of fate. It says you have to it says normally if you received a document on 1st of June, every 14 days or so, the collecting bank has to go back to the remitting bank and send them a telex and tell them, look, it's a DP bill. Still, this guy has not come to the bank to collect the documents. Still outstanding. Even a DA bill, still they have not accepted the draft. Right? So the remitting bank will, in return, they will advise the principal, and principal will directly call, they can directly call the importer and tell them what the hell you are doing. Still you have not gone to the bank. The documents are lying there. Right? They have a better communication. Well, there may be certain reasons. So sometimes when there's a delay like that, the most common answer is those people are trying they want to negotiate for a discount. Make a discount negotiate but banks are getting penalized. So because of that, every 14 days, my personal advice to you is every 14 days, you have to check, and first you have to check with your customer and ask them why you are not coming to the bank, why you are not paying the bill, why you are not accepting the draft? ඒවා අහන්න යනවා. අහලා ඊට පස්සේ කියන්න යනවා. මොකද්ද කරන්න කියන එක. Advice of fate tag and the money. If the bill is unpaid, unaccepted, the collecting bank arrange storage and insurance for the goods as per the remitting bank's instructions on the schedule. Article 10B and Article 25. Or protest the bill, protest on behalf of the remitting bank if the remitting bank schedules states protest. Right? We'll go one by one. Arrange storage and insurance for the goods as per the remitting bank's instructions on the schedule. Can you turn to Article 10? Article 10. It says goods, Article 10A, goods should not be dispatched directly to the address of a bank or consigned to the order of the bank without prior agreement on the part of that particular bank. You should not consign or send the goods. Goods must not dispatch directly or even consigned to a bank. That is, as per the Article 10, it's against URC 522. Right? But if you received documents, bill of lading, consigned to the bank, right? First thing, either you can refuse, or if the guy is paying, no issue, you can endorse it and give it to them. But try to avoid it as much as possible because you are going to get involved for unnecessary things. You are being dragged into unnecessary things. For example, when it is consigned to you, the BL, then legally you are bound to go and get the things cleared and all those things. You're bound to get it. That particular goods have been consigned to you. Right? In a bank, how can you do all those things? Most of the trade finance departments, about 60%, 70%, 60, easily 60 to 65%, ladies, not gents. ළමයිව ගිහිල්ලා ලොරි වල අර බට් ටික පටවගෙන ලොරියෙත් එල්ලලා එන්න පුළුවන් ද ගෑනලා අපිට ස්ටෝරේජ් වලට කොහෙද අපි දාන්නේ බැංක් එකේ තියාගන්නද නෑ we have to look for stores then ඒවා කරන්න බැරි ඒවා එතකොට අපි මේ වගේ දෙයක් ආවලා තියෙනවා නම් immediately you have to go back to the remitting bank and say storing and insurance we are not taking any responsibility. We are not doing that. Point blankly, you can say, we are not doing that. Right? Then the Article 25 is regarding case of need. In case if the customer is not coming forward, in your collection order form, there's a cage to tick case of need. In case if something goes wrong, please contact this guy. He will support you. He will give you the instruction. He is my agent, in the country. So he will help you. And that particular thing, you have to mention what are his powers. Otherwise, only we have given his name, Mr. Pereira, of this address and the phone number and all. When we sometimes we get a call from Mr. Pereira we might get a call from Mr. Prada saying that I heard that importer has not come to the bank to accept the draft or do the payment, right? So I got a call from the exporter, one of my friends. He wanted me to go and change the buyer. We want to change the buyer, and there's another party. He will come and pay and collect the BL. That guy will tell you. Are you going to act on that? Are you going to act on that? In the collection order form, only his name was there. In case, please contact so and so. You may get case of need. In case of need, refer to blah blah blah. Who will assist you to obtain acceptance payment, but who has no authority to amend the terms of the bill. Specifically, they will help you to get the parties and get them dragged into the bank and get the things done. But he can't give you instructions. Okay, there's another guy. You hand over the things to them. He is prepared to pay. No way. It has to be the instructions. His powers should be in black and white. His powers should be in black and white, right? Otherwise, you can ask him to go to hell. I'm not going to do anything, right? Right. Protest on behalf of the remitting bank. If the Article 10 එක සම්පූර්ණයෙන් කියවන්න. Article 10 එකත් ඔක්කොම කියවන්න. Protest on behalf of the remitting bank. If the remitting bank schedule states protest. What do you mean by protest? What do you mean by protest? In banking, especially in collections, right? We have a legal way out. We call it protest. But this protest means if the bill has not been paid on the due date, or if they are not coming to the bank to collect the bill and to do the payment, either way, you can file a case. To file a case, if the maturity date is on 6 June, that's a maturity date. You have to file a case on 7 June, right? Or at least by 8 June. 7 June is Sunday, right? 8 June, you can file a case. මෙච්චරකම case file කරන්න බෑ ලංකාවේ මේ කොහෙවත් කරන්න බෑ. But because of that, we have added another one, noting and protesting. Noting and protesting. If you can't do it on the following day, then you can't do the protest. Instead of that, only now we are using noting and protesting. Noting means you have to go to a notary public and get this bill noted. In most of the banks, you have your legal officers, legal department. You have lawyers. Those lawyers are notary publics. So you can easily do it within the bank. Right? ඊට පස්සේ පුළුවන් සුමානකින් දෙකකින් කේස් එක දාන්න. නැත්නම් මේ දවසින් කොහොමද මේක කිව්වේ නැහැ කියලා පහුවෙන්දර කේස් එකක් දාන්න බෑනේ. Right? We are not superhumans. So that is why noting and protesting is there. But in my case, my best practice, which I have practiced in most of the banks like Standard Chartered, HSBC, they came mama practice කරලා. ඒවා තමයි දැන් ඒ banks වල අපිත් යන්නේ. When you received I think some of the bank, commercial bank with Karna, the best practices. When you receive the collection order form, and if they says if the bill is unpaid, please arrange for storage and insurance, clear the goods and ensure storage and cover or make it collection order form again. Okay, quite a Tanaka one then I think. අපි කියනවා මේක අපි අර කවුරුන් ලෙටර් එකේ දාලා එවනවා. ඒකම කියනවා account non payment please protest. ඒක protest කියන එක නම් තියෙනවා කෙලින්ම ටික් කරන්න. Please protest. අපි කරන්නේ collection order form එක ආපු ගමන්ම ඒවා තියෙනවනම් කෙලින්ම we have to send the acknowledgement to the remitting bank. When we are sending the acknowledgement, we say we received your collection order form on such and such a date for this amount, but please be advised that we are not undertaking to do storing and insurance. Number 2, no protesting. Finish. කෙලින්ම අතෝදගත්තා ඉවරයක් කළා. Right? You want to better protest කරන්න bank එකක් හොයාගන්න ඕන නම් වෙන bank එකට යවන්න කියන්නේ. යවන්න නෑ එච්චරම තමයි. Right? But later they can tell you, look, I have already instructed you to file a case, protest. You should have come back to me at that time when you receive the documents. Otherwise, I would have changed, in case of that, I would have changed the bank. Look for another party, right? එහෙම කියන්න බෑ. ඒකෙන් නම් මේක දැම්මම දාලා දාන්න. Request further instructions from the remitting bank if there is a problem that is not covered by the instructions of their schedule. Understood. Once payment is received from the importer, the collecting bank remits the proceeds promptly to the remitting bank, less its charges. Right? You are see article 26C1. Issuing shipping guarantees on collection transaction is risky and should be limited only for very good customers. Very important. Issuing shipping guarantees on collection transaction is risky. Why is it risky? Can somebody tell me? දැන් නම් කතා කරන්න ඕන මට ෂුවර් නෑ දැන් බුද්ධියද කියලා ඔයගොල්ලෝ. වචනයක්වත් නෑ. Right? You are not stopping me. Why it is risky? Why? What do you mean by issuing a shipping guarantee? Why we need to issue a shipping guarantee? Trade guys. කියන්නේ අනිත් යාටද ඉගෙන ගන්න. Huh?
We issue a shipping guarantee to release for the customer to release the goods, na?
Release the goods. Why?
Yeah.
Why we are under what scenario?
Before receiving the original
When the
document,
origin,
Yes,
the bank of original document.
we have not received the original BL, original BL. So because of that, we are requesting the bank to issue a shipping guarantee to enable the customer to release the goods. Correct. Perfect. Why you say issuing shipping guarantees on collection transaction is risky?
because the consignment is not, because it's not consigned to the bank.
No.
We are issuing the documents with the customer who gave us the original. He's sending the documents which he have, because we didn't see the original documents or their covering schedule also.
I can't take it as a Correct answer.
Because when a collection bill is concerned, we don't know for what amount the bill will come for. It could be a higher
Yeah.
value.
Partially correct. Because unlike the important, the partially correct. So,
Not like LC, we don't have any idea about the document. Original can be deferred to the documents which submit by customer.
Because the bank is liable for that one. It means the security purposes, like LCs, we don't keep any security purpose.
Make it liability. Before you, she started her answer saying, unlike LC. Unlike LC, what the bank again?
And Lasan.
Lasan NTP. Right, Lasan Hari. Unlike LC, when we open a LC, we advise the LC to a the trade guys know that we advise the LC to a particular advising bank, right? And we know that we are going to receive the document for this particular amount. It's at collection, we don't know from where we are getting this. Maybe from Pakistan, maybe from India, we don't know, right? We have not seen any transactions, prior transactions under collection. So because of that, not like an LC, unlike an LC, one thing we are not sure whether we are getting the answers. 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 We don't know the exact amount of the thing, right? We may have issued the shipping guarantee for $100,000, and by the time we received the document, it was $10,000. Problem, right? And it is very risky. Basically, as a principle, I will not issue. Having said that, we do for certain very good customers. Very good customers can think bank right? Okay. Then delivery and settlement of import collection. Delivery and settlement of import collections. Before that, don't worry. Make it but a padding class another amount in Samani, we are doing for 4 hours. Make it 2 hours link I can retire it, but I don't want to rush through because these things we have to this particular class we are discussing these things, right? A bit discussion you have to study on this URC 522 because you are going to get UCP 600 later, and URR ISBP ISBP also we are covering. ISBP katupadan karana bad. මේ එකක්වත් කටපාඩම් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. කටපාඩම් කරන්න බෑ. මොකද කටපාඩම් කරන්න බැරි බැංක් එකේදී අපි වැඩ කරත් whenever we have an issue we can refer to the book. So you don't have to learn by heart. But having said that, to answer the questions and to do your job properly, you have to have a very good understanding about the articles and their applicability. So best thing, and not best thing, you have to do it, is at least before the final exam, you have to go through these books. UCP 600, URC 522, or the URR ISP එකකුත් වෙනවා. ඔය ටික ඔක්කොම තුන් පාරවත් ඉවර කරන්න ඕන. තුන් පාර ඉවර කරන්න ලේසි නෑ. Right? So my best advice to you is every day you better read 2 articles. May UCP 6 then තාම 522 නේ 522 එක අදම print කරගන්න. Print කරලා there are 2 ways you can do it. එකක් තමයි print කරලා අඳගාවින් තියාගෙන රැට බුදිය ගන්න යනකොට articles දෙකක් කියවන්න. තුන්වෙනි එක කියවන්න ඉස්සලා නින්දයක් යනවා බය වෙන්න එපා. මේ boring එකක් කියවනකොට දැන් ටිකක් කරලා නින්දයක් යනවනේ නිදා ගන්නත් ලේසි. articles දෙකක් කියවන්න. daily කියවම අපිට මේ articles 26 articles 13 days වලින් අපි ඉවරයි. 2 weeks වලින් අපි articles ටික ඉවර කරනවා. articles ටික 2 weeks වලින් ඉවර කළාම ඊට පස්සේ අපිට UCP එකත් ඒ වගේම පාඩම් කරන්න. ආයෙසර පටන් ගන්නවා මේක. හරි? ඔය විදිහට දිගටම එන්න. ISBP එහෙම එනකොට කියවන්න වෙනවා. අට පාඩම් කරන්න බෑ. හැබැයි at least then you will know what are the things කියන එක. When you're answering the question, even if you don't know the sub-articles, even if you know article 10, ඔගන්ට bluff කරන්න පුළුවන් answer එක as per the article 10 of URC 522 කියලා කිව්වනම් අපිට අග්ගල් ලකුණු ටික දෙනවා. අපි හිතන්නේ මේ ළමයා ඔක්කොම දන්නවයි කියලා. ළමයා අපිට කොලේ වහලා ගහනවා. right? article 10B කියලා නැතත් as per the article 10 කියලා එක. ඒක දැනගන්න ඉතින් ඔයා කියවලා තියෙනවා. ඒකෙන්ද මම කියන්නේ දවසට articles දෙක ගානේ කියවන්න. මගේ trade එකේ ඉන්න ළමයින්ට නම් මම ඒ දවස්වල what I will do is at least every other day මම ඒගොල්ලොත් එක්ක මේ articles දවසට එක ගානේ discuss කරනවා වැඩ පටන් ගන්න ඉස්සෙල්ලා 8:30 ඇවිල්ලා මේ වුණාම 8:30 to 8:45 අපි එක article එකක් discuss කරනවා. අපි ඒ වගේ තමයි එක sessions අරන් ගියේ. නමුත් දැන් ඕගලන්ට discuss කරන්න කෙනෙක් නැහැ නේ. better read. Right? Then delivery and settlement of import collections. Collecting bank's role is to deliver the documents as per the remitting bank's instructions. Nothing to add. Remit the importer's payment to the remitting bank. Right? Once you release the documents, they have to collect the money and you have to do the payment to the remitting bank. The collecting bank has no financial obligations to pay the remitting bank if the importer refuses to pay, unless it has avalized the bill or already released the goods to the importer under their shipping guarantees. The collecting bank has no financial obligations to pay the remitting bank if the importer refuses to pay, unless it has avalized the bill. Avalizing means you give a bank is also giving an unconditional and irrevocable undertaking. Avalize means it's like almost like a LC, right? Unless you have avalized the bill, you have no obligations to pay. If the customer says no, I am not going to pay, your only obligation is to inform it to the remitting bank, right? Before releasing shipping documents, certain precautions should be taken. One is DP. Ensure that we have received full settlement plus our charges from the importer. We have to collect our charges, right? Then DA, ensure that we hold a user's bill accepted for payment on a stated date and that the acceptance of the bill of exchange appears to be complete and correct. Right? Article 22. Can we go through the Article 22? Then take articles adu karagන්න පුළුවන්. Article 22 acceptance. The presenting bank is responsible for seeing that the form of the acceptance the presenting bank is responsible for seeing that the form of the acceptance of a bill of exchange appears to be complete and correct, but is not responsible for the genuineness of any signature or for the authority of any signatory to sign the acceptance. Very important. The Article 22 it's a common question in the final exam. It's a very common question, right? The collecting bank, we have to ensure that the bill has been properly accepted, but we don't have any obligations to check the authority, right? For example, I will give you one example. Please answer. Right? You have a document. We have received a bill of exchange for $10,000, right? It is to be accepted for payment after 90 days. Now, we have given the bill of exchange to the customer. They have come to the bank. They have collected the bill of exchange, and later on the following day, they have returned the bill of exchange to us. Properly, it says accepted to pay on 28th October. Right? On 28th October, when you are going to debit the customer and do the payment, we get a letter from the customer, the managing director of the company. He sends a letter and says, don't do this payment because this the signatory is not an authorized signatory. Is not an authorized signatory. So because of that, don't pay. To see it has been accepted by the Wharf Club, not the managing director or the finance director or the chief accountant. Right? Wharf Club must What is the bank's situation? As a collecting bank, can we tell the remitting bank, sorry, we can't send the money, it has been collected, it has been accepted by a wrong party, unauthorized party, so because of that we can't send the money. What is your question? Or the company's question? Is the company correct? Is the company correct? Company correct?
Company is correct.
Company is correct.
Yeah.
So because of that, we are not going to.
So, sir, at the time of accepting the bill of exchange, should we have verified the signature? To see whether who had signed on it.
Can you read the Article 22 again? The presenting bank is responsible for seeing that the form of the acceptance of a bill of exchange appears to be complete and correct, but is not responsible for the genuineness of any signature or for the authority of any signatory to sign the acceptance. It's very clear, ne? එතකොට අපි signature verification එකක් කරනවද? හැබැයි ඉතින් ඔකේ දුගේ කතාවේ practical part එකක් තියෙනවා. The මොනවා වුණත් I know most of the banks, what they do is they will check. Are you verifying the signatures of accepted bill? Tell me, yes or no? How many people are verifying the signatures on a accepted bill?
I think it is common practice that when a customer gives entering, the very first thing you do is you verify the signature.
Mhm.
You receive
So
stamp
are you
එක
doing
දාලා
that? Are you doing that?
things
Yes,
right.
we do.
මම අහන්නේ ඒක, are you doing that?
Yes.
So I handle LCs, and yes, signature verification is the very first thing we do.
Yes. LCs අපි කරනවා. Right? දැන් මේක අපි කරනවද?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
We are verifying the bill of exchange signature.
මොකද පුතේ bank එක?
NTB.
NTB. Right. Yeah. Even though it says, make a controversial area. If you get a question like this, the answer also, even I don't care about the commentaries on this particular thing. We'll have to do the correct practice, right? The bank to bank, there may be different practices, but better we have a common practice, right? Legally, yes, you are not liable. Legally, you are not liable, right? But outside the terms of the URC 522, it's more prudent to check the signature. If you take a balnega, you have to when you are answering a thing like that, you have to mention like that, right? It is better and more prudent to check or verify the signature, because how many drafts we are receiving in a day? We are not getting 100, 200, no. Maybe about 5 or 6. That's it, right? And most of the time, I know the bankers, they don't check the specimen signature. මතක ඔයගොල්ලන්ට මේ ගොඩක් කටට signatures by heart they know. බලමුකෝ ටග්ගාලගේ verification එකක් දැම්මට කමන්නේ නැහැ, right? අනිත් පැත්තේ, is the company correct not to pay කියලා කියන්නේ? Is the company correct to stop the payment?
No, they're also in the wrong.
They are
They could
also
have
wrong.
they could have informed us prior.
They should have done it those days,
Yeah.
immediately, right? Then and do you think that after 90 days they are still waiting to clear the goods? No, they have accepted the draft, and that means they have collected the documents and they have collected the goods and they have sold the goods. They have realized the money also, right? Now they are trying a fast track. I think they are අරයට දෙන්න හොඳ නෑ chance එක කියලාත් company එකට. They should have come back long time back, right? දැන් ඒගොල්ලෝ මේ බඩුවේ ඒ company එකේ බඩු ටික විකුණ ගන්න නැත්තේ සල්ලි ටික මේ දැන් සල්ලි කරලා තියෙන්නේ. මේකින්ද company එක වැරදි. bank එකටත් අපිට legally අපිට කියන්න බෑ. හැබැයි practical side is what you people have mentioned. Better verify the signature, right? Non-payment and non-acceptance. Non-payment and non-acceptance chase the importer and in the same time advise the remitting bank and the documents. While you are chasing the importer for the payment or non-acceptance, always keep the remitting bank informed about your actions, right? And noting and protesting, we discussed and protection of goods we discussed earlier, right? Advantages and disadvantages of using documentary collection, right? What are the advantages? What are the advantages of documentary collections? Increase the likelihood of payment for the seller, as the buyer may not be able to obtain the goods without payment or acceptance of the collection. Increase the likelihood of payment for the seller, as the buyer may not be able to obtain the goods without payment or acceptance of the collection. Unlike the open account and the advance payment, right? Those things, the goods are sent direct from the seller to the buyer, and the goods, the documents are routed direct, not through the bank. Here, the documents are routed through the banks. So at least they have a control to the seller for the payment, that the buyer has to pay if they want to get the documents. DP nang අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම ගෙවන්න ඕන. ගෙවුවොත් තමයි ඒගොල්ලන්ට ගන්න පුළුවන් documents ටික. ඉතින් ඒකෙන්ද we have a better control over the goods, right? Provide some assurance to the buyer that the shipment will arrive. Provide some assurance to the buyer that the shipment will arrive. Provide an opportunity to sell goods before payment has to be made. DA transaction. We have an opportunity to sell the goods before payment has to be made. Right? Disadvantages: the security of payment to the seller is less than the payment in advance, BPO or DC. What is BPO? What is BPO? කාටද කියන්න පුළුවන්ද? 2016 they introduced to Sri Lanka banks payment obligations. Banks payment obligations. Right? That was a new concept introduced by ICC, International Chamber of Commerce, to cover the open account transactions. What they say is, okay, even under open account, the banks give an undertaking. Open account and collection, they gave them undertaking. Then the undertaking that they never collateral gandona. So they introduced it in 2015, and in somewhere around 2016 they came to Sri Lanka and conduct some seminars, training courses on BPO, and they wanted to do this because ICC thought in the world advance payment and open account was fast growing. Even the collections are coming down. Even the LCs are coming down. The fast growing two products are advance payment and open account, because people trust each other. Now, when they saw this one, they thought the banks will lose certain income. Open account ගියාම අපිට income එකක් නැහැ නේ. LCR ඉන්න නැත්නම් අපිට commission උත් නැහැ නේ. එතකොට මේගොල්ලෝ බැලුවා දැම්ම එකක් BPO කියලා දැම්ම banks payment obligations කියලා 0.25% විතර charge කරන්න පුළුවන්. අරකයි මේකයි අපි banks වලින් undertaking එකක් දෙනවා. හැබැයි මේ වෙනකොට it has faced a natural death. Within 5 years, BPO natural death. අපිට ආවෙත් නෑ එන්න තිබුණා කරකිලා මේ වෙනකොට ලෝකෙම දැන් තීරණ ගත්තා මේක හරියන්නේ මේ බැංක්ස් ටික එකතු වෙලා ඔක්කොම ලොකු බැංක්ස් ටික එකතු වෙලා ICC එකත් එක්ක දාපු උත්තර වැට්ටියක් තමයි මේක කියලා. ගානක් කඩා ගන්න. right? ඒක හරි ගියේ නෑ. ඒක the security of payment to the seller is less than payment in advance or a DC. The seller does not have the benefit of a bank guarantee of payment by a DC and relies only upon the credit standing of the drawee or the buyer. The seller does not have the benefit of a bank guarantee for payment, right? Unlike in a LC. Should the collection be unpaid, the cost of protecting the goods can be high. Obviously. Again, api bag yani ඔක්කොම කරලා noting and protesting ඔක්කොම කරගෙන යනකොට ඒ අතරේ අපි goods ටික store කරලා insure කරලා මේක කරනකොට බයන්සල මොනවා agreement එකක් අරගෙන right අපි ගන්නම් කියලා කිව්වට පස්සේ අපේ සල්ලි ගවන්නේ කවුද? There won't be anybody. Right? There won't be anybody. වගේ ඒවා faces face කරමින් තමයි banks අපි කියන්නේ sorry we are not handling noting and protesting, we are not storing and insuring the goods. Finish. Right? Okay. Some issues and problems in document collection operations. I will do it next week because then we get but another 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I would like to go through these rules. If you can turn to your rules, ICC regulation. We'll try to discuss as much as possible. One, two, it's okay, definition of a collection, right? 3, parties to a collection that we have done. Then 4 articles, Article 4 collection instructions that also you can go through it, right? And within the Article 4 collection instructions, right? Here, all these instructions has to be mentioned on the collection order form. And it has to be in the collection order. When the collecting bank receives the collection, it has to be there, all the items. Collecting banks will not look elsewhere for instructions. Everything should be on that particular format, right? Article 5 presentation. Article 5 එක උගන්ගේ homework කියලා බලන්න එකත් ඒවල බලලා ගන්න යන්න. Then Article 6 site acceptance, right? In the case of documents payable at site, the presenting bank must make presentation for the payment without delay. In the case of documents by acceptance, by payable at a tenor other than the site, the presenting bank must, where acceptance is called for, make presentation for acceptance without delay, right? What do you mean by without delay? What do you mean by without delay? ඒ term එක define වෙන්නෙම නැහැ without delay කියන එක. හරිම ambiguous term එක. Some people are, I mean, by nature they are, for example, අපේ මිනිස් බණ්ඩා චන්ද්‍රිකා බණ්ඩාරනායක ගත්තොත් උන්ලගේ delay නේ. ඒතර without delay කියන එක එයාට සමානට එක දවස් දෙකක් තුනක් වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. අපිට පැය ගාණක් වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. මේක හරියම මේ subjective matter එකක්. But basically as banks what we have to do is to do it immediately, right? Then article 7 එක අපි කියවා release of documents, commercial documents, DA and DP we discuss. Article 8, creation of documents, where the remitting bank instruct that either the collecting bank or the drawee is to create documents, bill of exchange, commercial notes, trust receipt, letters of undertaking, or other documents that were not included in the collection. The form and the wording of such documents shall be provided by the remitting bank. Otherwise, the collecting bank shall not be liable for responsible for the form and wording of any such documents provided by the collecting bank and or drawee. It's very important. It says when you have been asked to do prepare certain documents, always you should get the format or draft of that particular document. The form and the wordings of such document. Without that, if the collecting bank has done the document and if something happens later, the remitting bank can't blame the collecting bank because they have not given the exact wordings of that document. Because of that, collecting bank may have done some mistakes, errors, but they are not liable unless otherwise they have been given the wordings and the format and everything, and having received the thing, they go and do some other jugglery. Then they are responsible. Right? Take a clear name, Article 9 එක good faith and reasonable කියලා. ඒක හරි. Article 10 එක කියවන්න. 10 එකේ මේ ඊයකට එනකම් හොඳටම කැලෙන් කැල ඕන වෙනවා. exam එකට එනවා. ඔක්කොලට Article 10 එකෙන් questions ආව වෙනවා. Right. අපි අනිත් ඒවා ටිකක් මිනිස්සරේ බලමු. So we'll 2 hours නිකම් යනවා අපිට. Next week I'm going to discuss about this to continue this session, some issues and problems in document collection operations. And if you have any issues, practical issues, please bring those to the class so that we can discuss, and it's good for you and even for the benefit of others, right, who are in the class. So with that, I'm going to wind up the class for today. So next week, we'll see what we can discuss. But I want you to, another 7 days, at least up to 20, please read the articles and some. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.